Welcome to BlockchainTalk. Hello everyone. There's one article in the Forbes magazine actually catch my attention. Basically, it's saying that the Metaverse is failing. But this is one investment that will not die. Okay, let's take a look at this one here. Okay, basically you can see that here, right? Is from the Forbes magazine. It's saying that the Metaverse is dying. It's failing.
The Metaverse is failing, but this is one investment that will not die. By Kenneth.
Okay, basically this is the Mark Zuckerberg, the CEO of the Facebook. Now they changed the name to the Meta. So basically, the author is saying that the Metaverse is a failure because all the games are stupid. Because the author he owned a token called Mana, MANA, which is the token issued by the Decentraland. Okay, so basically he said this is stupid. He has a token and he got the premium version edition of the subscription of the game, and we call it game, right? Called Metaverse game, Decentraland. Okay, here we introduce a little bit about what is Decentraland. Basically, Decentraland is a Metaverse-like. We call it Metaverse-like. It's a kind of the typical nowadays called Metaverse. It's kind of the virtual world. Virtual world is basically building a virtual world. People are able to build their buildings, the cities, and then actually set up their government, the outfit, and then has all kinds of activity there, and maybe some of the device and equipment, some of the assets. They're going to use that their token called Mana to do the circulation and boosting up all the in-apps purchase and in-apps economies. I hope that this one is based on because the token is issued in the Ethereum or whatever the public chain. I think this is kind of the nowadays a sample, a very good example of the Metaverse. So the author own that, but we can see that actually we call it Mana. Mana is falling down, right? If from the high to the end, actually, it's almost lost most of the values. I think it's saying that it's 82% of the value actually totally lost the annually, right? So basically is that this is true. So I can tell you that is true. This is actually describes exactly what's happening in the Metaverse area. Because I'm the big supporter for the Metaverse here. So I think I need to have some good word for this one, especially for the Mark Zuckerberg. So we know that a year ago, right, Mark Zuckerberg even changed their name, right, from Facebook to Meta, which means that he is the believer of the Metaverse in the future. But now we can see actually also mentioned in this article as well, the stock price of the Meta actually is already half, right? It's falling down. It's only keep the half of his market capital for now, yeah. But that's the reality. Actually, that is the kinds of the people has to be in this way, because now he's almost burning out. He is burning the investors, the money, right? Whatever the investor actually from the stock market or whatever their fundraising, right, ways, he's spending all the monies now, right? But this is the reality. This actually has let me thinking about it, because this is kind of the big technology transformation. We are transformed from the one big internet era actually into the future Metaverse era. This is the big time for all of us. This is actually remind me one of the actually is back to the 90s, last century, the 90s. I think 1996 or something. The Bill Gates, right? Bill Gates had remember you call this one very famous one, the roads ahead. So he's sitting in the Oregon highway. He's telling the people, he was telling the world that, okay, in the future, or all the world, the global, the human being, we're sitting in the we call it information super highway. That was in the 1996 or 1995, right? Bill Gates has already pointed out the future. And then we can go back to, we can actually, when times pass and to the 2017 or 2018, and I think everybody is convinced, and everybody believe that whatever the Bill Gates had told, had tokens in the 1998, it become realities. What had been done? What had been done in during this period? Now Microsoft and then Bill Gates and then a lot of the IT pioneers, right? Internet companies and software company, for decades, 20 or 30 years, they have been building the highway. We call it information highway. What's the information highway? They build up the infrastructure about this software in the information highway, right? They build operating system. They build database. They build web infrastructure. They build web service. They build all the toys. They build all the development infrastructures. They build all the nice software to allow all the people daily work, daily life into the internet and the software. That's the whole internet industry and the software industry actually come into being. The information technology industry actually come into being, and they are working hard, very hard for this. This will be the same thing for Metaverse. Okay? So I can see that for the Metaverse, it will be the same thing. So Mark Zuckerberg believes this because he has been foresee all the future about the Metaverse. He's saying, okay, I believe this. This will be our future. Will be our human civilization's future. So people will be all inside the Metaverse. So I need to do something on that. So he still convinced me. I still believe in his vision as well, because it looks like for me, I see the same vision about what Mark Zuckerberg is seeing. Okay. So let's go back to these articles, right? You're saying that what happened to the Meta. So Mark Zuckerberg changed the name from the Facebook to Meta. They had been built some of the products and service as well. One of the famous one called Horizon World, right? Is the Meta's flagship products actually targeting the Metaverse. But it actually is doing something over there, but it's not that convinced now, because the market and the consumers and then users might not buy it, because it's kind of the only small portion of the people are actually adapted this kind of technology. I believe that because it's saying that actually whatever building up on the Horizon worlds actually might not be as good as the whatever happening in we already have the virtual reality and the virtual world industry. Well, the famous one will be the Sony's, the PlayStation, right? I remember I had played the PlayStation 2, PS3, and now it's already PS5, right? And also Microsoft have the Xbox in this area, right? The gaming industry. Actually, there's a lot of the we call it multi. We had a lot of this kind of game already. We call it multi-person, the online, the role-play games. It's more the RPG game. We call it RPG game. MMORP, this kind of games. It's not a game. Actually, there's some of the virtual world. Virtual world is not a game. That is not a simple game. And the virtual world is they don't have the target, or they don't have the what you need to fight for. You need to fulfill some of the target and the goal, and then you can get some award. No, it's simply a virtual world, and then you experience it. You build the world. Okay, you experience it. You interact with the people and the world inside the virtual world. Okay. So this is in the Xbox and the PS, right? The PlayStation, they already had this kind of role-playing game for decades. Actually, whatever the Mark Zuckerberg is being built, is building, right, for the Horizon world might not be better than that. And even the user experience might not as good as the PS and the Xbox, the console game, right? So we know that. And then I think is the most famous one for the I think it's the Metaverse is that this Mark Zuckerberg, you see that in his platform that he's doing a fashion show, right? He's saying that, okay, I don't see whatever in the Metaverse can do any easier than the real life I'm doing. So the author is right. It's quite right. Whatever Mark Zuckerberg and the Meta is building, the Horizon world is not. I don't think it's better than whatever the PS or the Xbox domain and the gaming industry is doing. But this is the one necessity step about the Metaverse. Okay, so there are, because the reason why. Because I think the Metaverse is totally different from whatever the Xbox and then the PlayStation is doing. Because I know there is a kinds of the things that Mark Zuckerberg is not doing good. So because he is kind of believing the VR, the goggle, right? The VR goggle, the HoloLens or whatever. I think he might be in a certain wrong direction on this. But I'm not actually just the crypto. I'm not saying that actually the Mark Zuckerberg has to be adapted crypto, might not be the necessary. Because based on my understanding is that the Metaverse as combined with the 4 sectors, very important sectors. Number one is I think it's the virtual reality, VR. Okay, we have to adapt the VR technology. Now the Horizon world is more like a VR domain only, right? The second sector of the Metaverse actually is the internet, we call it mobile internet technologies, right? And many of our virtual work now might not be actually available in the mobile apps yet. Many of them are still in the desktop, just like what I'm building, right? On top of the Second Life's Metaverse products actually. So it's still desktop based. So the PS and the Xbox is console based. They're even more advanced, right? And then those kind of real-time and rendering things actually super cool, right? That's I think actually is happening. The Mark Zuckerberg actually he didn't adapt the other sector. No, he's adapting the third sector about the Metaverse called virtual world. Because the virtual world is different from the original game. Virtual world is coming from the game platform, but it's not the game anymore. The famous virtual world, I think the Decentraland is a kind of the virtual world, and then the Roblox, okay, and then also another one is called Sandbox. This is kind of the virtual world. The most famous one is the Second Life. I am the Second Life believer. Yeah, my future actually Metaverse will build on top of the Second Life, the infrastructure and the technology as well. Follow for open source, this kind of the policy and doing that. And there's one important factor I think the Mark Zuckerberg now is ignoring, which means that blockchain and the crypto world. Actually, that's the key things. The Metaverse need to be run in a decentralized way. I think this is kind of the dilemma for the Mark Zuckerberg. At one time, he required the old money, right? Whatever in the internet industry and the traditional fundraising stuff, he need that kind of resource and the money to build things. But at the same time, this kind of thing as restrict him to explore the opportunity about the Metaverse. And the Metaverse is one critical and important sector is that Metaverse need to be a self-organized virtual world, which means that it can be running in the DAO, decentralized autonomic organization. This is kind of way to doing the governance. Right? In the virtual world, actually, Horizon world need to be run in the decentralized way. It doesn't matter. It doesn't mean you need to do a fundraising or ICO, but you need to have that kind of the philosophy, the ideology, and otherwise the people won't get in. and then user will not buy it. It doesn't mean that you need to issue your own token, crypto token. No, you don't need to. But this is the future about the decentralized economies. The digital economy needs to be a decentralized way. But Mark Zuckerberg, he's kind of dilemma for this. On the one hand, he needs the money and the resource from the centralized way and the traditional old money. On the other hand, he has to use that money to build out the future, which is a decentralized way. The whole world is running in the decentralized fashion, right? I think that's why the reason why I believe in the Second Life. Second Life backend is great nodes. Anybody can join the groups, right? Because the Second Life, the backend is not open source yet, but there is an open source, the Second Life compatible, you call it grid compute, based on the grid computing. I remember when I was in IBM in back to the 2009 or 8 or something, right? And IBM promoted the grid computing. At the time, we call it open simulator. Actually, it's building up a compatible Second Life backend. It's based on the grid computing architectural design, right? The database, access server, login server, regional server, map server. This is kind of built about the world, virtual world on this. I think Mark Zuckerberg is ignoring this one. The decentralized way actually is the key, is a very essential sector for running the future metaverse. Okay, this is one. Actually, here, also mentioned that Decentraland actually is doing a fundraising called ETF, like Exchange Trading Fund, ETF. Which means that it's already actually the traditional the financial market is already, capital market is already giving enough green light to this kind of the projects to do the fundraising. The ETF, which means that you are just buying some of the traditional regular stock, and this stock is back to the investment and then the ecosystem about a certain level of the, for example, the Bitcoin, Ethereum, and this one is the Mana. Mana is the decentralized the tokens. It's already traditional, actually financial market already provides enough support to the crypto, but it's not performing that well because it's really in the early stage, right? And then there's another one. Actually, the reason why is that I still believe is that we remember the hyper chance, right? There's a called Gartner hyper chance is predict that 2026. 25% of the people will spend at least 1 hour in the metaverse in the workday, right? And then has more shopping or working in the metaverse. And 30% of the organization worldwide will offer product and service in the metaverse. That's only 2026. A couple of years later, it will become into being, right? Become reality. That's why there's a lot of the big company, they jump into the metaverse. Just like whatever, the Gucci, Coca-Cola, and the Nikes, they're already building their product and service. And NFT, right? They call it NFT. Remember that non-fungible tokens. Everything can be uniquely mapped to a certain asset, actually with a unique token ID. And Roblox, they already built on top of that. This kind of the big company, right? Big names already jump into the digital asset work and offering their virtual, we call it virtual choice auctions, right? Virtual factory tour or something like. Even I remember the Starbucks is even using the NFT to doing their loyalty point. That's all kinds of the things is happening. So that's why I believe that the metaverse is the future. The reason why I'm still supporting Mark Zuckerberg at this moment, at this point, right, in terms of the metaverse, is that when just like whatever the Bill Gates actually has the predict the future information super highway, is the same thing. Is that because there's a long road ahead of this metaverse? It's still in the very early stage of the metaverse. Just like we can see, the mountain is we can see the mountain earlier. But when we try to achieve and get into the mountains, right? We reach the mountain, we see, there's a jungle ahead of us. We have to find another bypass. because there's some of the tigers and then the snake ahead of us. We cannot go directly, and we can do a bypass and go to the other way. Can we see? Oh, there is the river ahead of us. This river actually is so wide, and we cannot cross it right away. And then you can swim cross a river, and sometimes you have to build a bridge. Who is this kind of person? Because I believe Mark Zuckerberg is entering in the new area and nobody has experienced, has been entered before. It's kind of the new area and a new domain. That's why he need to go into the whatever the problem he facing, he have to solve it. But don't believe me, the Google is not the future about the metaverse. I totally believe that. So, but there might be some of the breakthrough. There might be some of the breakthrough in this, maybe the Google, and because people has to be immersive in the scene. That's, I think, is that what he believes. If you cannot making the differences, there's no market, and then the investors are going to believe you. That's why he tried to make a differences and has a breakthrough in certain point. And then later on, when he's building that some of the infrastructure, and then he can go through and benefit the others, right? For example, when there is a river actually ahead of you to preventing you to reach the mountain, actually you have to build a bridge, right? He is kind of bridge builder, right? This is kind of, we call it infrastructure. For example, if that go there into the metaverse, the jungle, there's no road at all. You have to make a way. You have to make a way. You're building up the road, the highway, and for the people to cross. And then later on, you benefit from there. Many people actually asking me, so what's the strategy about the metaverse in China? I can tell you that, as I don't believe the Chinese are able to build any of the metaverse infrastructure at this point yet. Because the Chinese idea is thinking about just the application. They are building application on top. They only try to get their eye always catch into the top of the top of the pyramids, right? They only want to get to that on the top. They ignore the foundation, right? The infrastructure, even the infrastructure level, right? But don't get me wrong, right? Technology is only one part. Actually, the ecosystem and the user base and the market is still huge, right? Because China is the huge global market over there. Nobody are able to ignore that. I still believe that there's a bright future in metaverse for metaverse in China. But because the regulation about China is not clear yet, so it's totally unpredictable. Because the highest risk about doing business in in China is that because of regulation, and then I think this is kind of the risk is the highest concern, right, for the people. But it doesn't prevent people to continue and start doing the exploring about the metaverse, and then to see what is the good fit for the application there, are able to mass adapt it. I think that's the future bright market opportunity for the metaverse in China as well. Because many of my Chinese friends are asking me, Wenyan, how can I do the metaverse? Right? I think that okay, they look at whatever now the Chinese government is already benefit from whatever the internet technologies, or whatever that actually so your daily life, right? Whatever can solve your daily life, the issue and problem, right? It's make your life easier, just do it. One of my friends, actually, he's a very famous investor in China, right? He's investor or whatever that actually related to the daily life, daily living. For example, the communication, right? The social network, this kind of the metaverse area still have a bright opportunity, okay? Because of these kind of things, we need to believe that. We have been experienced, I think it's back to the 80s, 90s. Actually, we believe that whenever we have seen in the internet, actually we'll be doing the same as well in the metaverse. That's the bright future you and me are building. We are the person actually building and changing the world. Only those persons believe you can change the world are the actually people are able to change the world and actually changing the world. Okay? Blockchain Talk. Thank you.